Okay, lovely. So my goal tonight is to make dinner, and it's going to be chicken paella with two sauces. I'm going to make a standard, easy one-pan paella with lemon butter sauce, and then I'm going to whiz it up and make beurre blanc sauce. So basically, what we have here is two half chicken breasts. In cooking, one of these is considered half a chicken breast, and so we have two together that would make a whole chicken breast. Now, first we want to paillar them, and there's an interesting, it's kind of like butterflying if you were making, say, a chicken schnitzel. So I'm going to show you how to butterfly it, and then I'm going to cut them apart. So, contrary to what one think is you would take the thin side and cut, you would take the fat side and cut it in two and butterfly. But that, because there's this loin piece, that's not really how it's done. So you have this loin piece and you want it to all be attached. So we're going to start with the thin side. Here we go. I'm using my meat knife. I could also use my deboning knife. But what we want to do is, if you butterfly, you need the connective part to stay intact. So we're going to butterfly it by cutting, where is it? Where's the fat part? Where's the thin part? Well, these are so chunky that you can't tell. But this is the thin part. Well, I can't even tell now. This is definitely the fat part on this side. So let's go in, and we're going to cut evenly, but we're not going all the way through. And there you have, there it is, butterflied. So if you were going to make, say, do the paillard. Oh, by the way, I should say, paillard is French for, well, it's not a verb. It's just a noun expressing that the meat has been pounded thin pieces. So we have this butterflied, and we could pound it like that. And I'm going to do another one where I cut through the thin side and get, okay, so that's the fat side. Okay, so we're going to do the thin side. It's usually easier. My pieces are quite large and it's a little hard. Okay, so we're going to cut through like that evenly with your hand out of the way, but just holding firmly. And then we can cut that, and we have butterflied the chicken. All right. So once it, now this is very cold. Once it's butterflied, we're going to pound. Now you would pound this out to make a schnitzel. Same with a big piece of pork, like a pork chop without the bone, pork loin. Butterfly it before you pound it to a certain thinness, and that thinness is usually half an inch. Oops. But I'm going to do it between sheets of plastic wrap with the side of my mallet. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because these are for tenderizing meat, like tough cuts of beef. We don't really use that very often anymore because we know how to slice against the grain, you know how to cook. You don't really need to tenderize anymore. It's not 1970. So now I'm going to put the plastic wrap on top, and we're going to pound it out into nice thin pieces. So at the end, I'm going to have 4 paillards. And I was debating whether to cook all 4 considering it's only me eating, but I am because it has to do with the size of the pan. It has to do with how the sauce gets made. So we're just gonna do this. Makes lots of noise because I'm on the glass stovetop, and I'm not gonna. To see how you start with the fat part, I'm not gonna bother with you for the whole thing. Did I mention you can use a rolling pin for this? I have a nice marble one that would work, but basically you can take out all your anxieties. Chop, 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 and you get a nice. This side now is a 1/2 inch, and we're gonna keep going until it's all the same thickness. Start with the fat parts, move out. I'm going to continue to do that until we have 4 paillards. So we have our paillards. They're about a 1/2 inch thick. I guess this would be too big for a schnitzel, so maybe that was an error on my part. So they come apart quite easily, the 2 halves, because I butterflied them. You don't need to butterfly them, but I was just showing you that because you could just cut them and do them separately. But I showed you that because you need a butterfly for roulades, for instance. And if it's a piece of pork loin, you do for a schnitzel, you do keep them together in one piece. So I'm going to turn this on. So we're going to do this in oil, olive oil. Okay. And a tablespoon of butter. And when the butter starts to, I'm using this liberally because it's such a big pan. And we're going to add the butter. Because this is how we're going to tell when it's ready. It's going to start to froth up. In the meantime, we're salting and peppering we're seasoning both sides of the paillard. Season with salt, just a little, pepper. Using kosher salt because it's easy to spread. Pepper, like that. Flip over. See how spread out they become. Remember, this was 2 chicken breasts, 2 chicken breast halves, and now we have 4 paillards. Each one would be enough for one person to eat. Okay, so this is heating up. Somebody's blowing off firecrackers back in the, I don't know what you call that, behind me. So, people with no parents, apparently. Anyway, so there's some plastic wrap. This one's very thin. I'm going to do it first. This one's very thin, and it's slightly separated. I'm going to wash my hands so I can salt and pepper again. And then this is going to come to a heat. Salt, salt, salt. Pepper, pepper, pepper. Always salt and pepper. Okay. Salt. Turning this. 1. Okay. Throw out the rest. I used too much. Now both my hands are dirty. Try to keep one hand clean. Flip with one and season with the other. That's kind of a rule of thumb that I forget. My thumb forgets. I don't think I need much more of this. Okay, so we have these all ready to go. That's 4 paillards made of 2 half chicken breasts. And make yourself some room. Maybe get this. There might be too much oil in here. I'm not worried. I think I want more butter though. Okay. Starting to foam. I added some more. We need more foaming. And basically, these are so thin, you really need to only cook them 2 minutes on each side. Okay, so that's foaming. I need my tongs. We're going to do the thin ones first. The super thin ones. I don't want to use up all that heat on the thick ones because we might end up with burning on the bottom. So the thing I need to get ready now is this is just above, it's medium high. It's going to be 2 minutes and I have to get my stock out for the first sauce. Poulet bouillon, low salt. This is no salt added. Okay, so you can hear it sizzle. It's looking really good. When it's golden, I don't have the timer with me. When it's golden, we're going to flip it. Okay, where are my flippers? Oh, here they are. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, it's got some golden along the edges, and now we're just going to let those cook for another 2 minutes before I add these. And by the way, all that brown goodness is going to be part of the first sauce. Alright, so that's been 2 minutes and they're looking really nice and golden. I did not, oh, I'm putting them, oops, that one went on I'm putting them on a different plate now to rest because this is raw meat and we want to use the juices of this meat. So I didn't mention that I turned the temperature down after I flipped them because I didn't want it just to increase heating. So I'm going to turn it back up and then we're going to do the second 2 paillards. Oops. They're so thin they kind of separate out like that. That's okay. That's just how it is. Okay. So nothing's burning. We still have butter sizzling, which is nice. And I could tap these, but maybe I will. But anyway, we do the same, 2 minutes on each side. And then we're gonna use the juices for the sauce here. All right, so the second 2 tend to cook at a faster rate, which is why I turned the heat down. And you want them to be, you don't want them to cook till they're leather. You want the knife feel and the mouth feel to be gorgeous. So we're going to turn it down. Well, it's already turned down. I'm going to tap this. There's lots of juices. This is the golden color you're looking for. Any more and you've basically overcooked the meat. And remember, they were only ½ an inch thick, so that's why the last ones took 3 minutes because my pan gets hot, and the first ones took 4 minutes, 2 on each side, and the last. So now we're going to add a shallot and a half. Large shallots are too small, diced. Well, we're making the lemon sauce now. And because there's so much butter and oil in here, I don't need to add much anymore. Get your spoon out. They're already cooked. So now we need to add we're going to deglaze the pan with 3/4 cups of chicken salt. This is chicken stock. This is no salt chicken stock. We're going to add the juice of 2 lemons. We're going to, in fact, add segments of lemon squeezed. and put right in the pan. And like that. And I'm gonna do another one. Actually, I won't. I don't think I need to squeeze this one. Well, I will. No, I'll just let them. If the pips go in, that's okay because we're gonna strain this one. And then I want more lemon. And when you want this juice to reduce to half, and that's gonna take 3 minutes. I'll put it back up to medium. I'm going to use my thing here to get more lemon in, and those won't go in. Maybe I'll take out the squished ones. No, I'll leave them in for now. But it is nice to have a few of these in there. Maybe I'll slice them thinner for effect. Hold on. They didn't get hot yet. Well, they're hot. They are hot. Hold on. This isn't the chopping knife. This is the meat knife. Let's just put these in because it's part of the whole idea. So, and then this one I'm going to put in. And you can smell that we deglazed the pan. Have we deglazed the pan? Oftentimes you deglaze the pan with wine or stock or both. You could have deglazed with some wine and then added the stock. But remember, we want this to reduce to become a sauce. So I'm going to put more lemon in. That's 2 total. But I am going to divide this lemon because I want it to look good. All right. Okay. I didn't hurt myself yet. And then we have to get out our cold butter to finish the sauce. Anyway, you'll know when it's finished when you can make a trail. And then you can add the butter and it will become glossy. That's why we're using cold butter. And I'm going to get my strainer out for this. Just a moment. Okay, that's been exactly 3 minutes and it's behaving how I want. I forgot to add the pan juice from the juices from the meat. So we're gonna just add that in because the flavor comes from the fond, which is the bottom of the bowl of the pan, and it also comes from the juices in this particular sauce. And you can see that there's the trail here. This is basically ready for cold butter. And I have 2 tablespoons cut. Are we recording? Yeah. And this is what's gonna, and we're gonna turn it off now. And this is what's gonna end up being making the sauce glossy. You know, it's a version of a French sauce. That's how sauce making is part of that story. So we're just gonna melt that in like that. Pan's still hot enough to do that. And now you would taste it to see if there's enough. I'm pretty sure there's enough seasoning. Yeah. It's got a nice tang. Maybe there was too much butter. Too much lemon. But over the meat it will be delicious. So in this case, I am straining it. Like that. And that's your finished sauce, lemon butter sauce for your chicken paillard. So we have our beurre blanc. I'm not very happy with it, so I'll do another episode. But I've got my butter sauce here, which is silky and beautiful. And we're just gonna plate it up. Okay. So I'll take tongs and I'll do a nice thin paillard like that. I could do two, but that seems gluttonous. So I'll just add, oh yes, I made some asparagus for this. So we're just gonna use the same sauce for both. So I don't know, that doesn't look good. Let's do it this way. Add the asparagus, make a nice pile. That's not really what I want. These tongs are not very particular. Use your chef skills. Let's do some on the side and cross some over. And then pour on your lemon butter sauce. You could also add cauliflower at this point, but that kind of works and it's really delicious. Now I'll take a photo.